You're listening to episode 31 of Leaders on Purpose podcast.
Hi there. Welcome to Leaders on Purpose podcast. This is your host, Manal Bernoussi. I am a multi-passionate mom of twins and a corporate executive in Casablanca, Morocco, living and sharing my personal development journey. In this podcast, we're looking to develop the skills, habits, and mindset to reveal our full potential for a greater purpose. I'll be inviting inspiring people, beautiful souls, Moroccans, Canadians, Americans, Nigerians, and more, people from all backgrounds and different nationalities, to inspire us to live our true purpose and create great impact. So join me every other Sunday, and let's make this happen.
Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. It feels so good to be back behind this mic and to get the opportunity to just sit down and talk to you guys. It's been a couple months now since the last solo episode. I recorded an interview with Professor Yazemi a couple of weeks ago, which you all loved. Thank you for the incredible feedback on that one. And I want to thank everybody also for your beautiful messages after my last solo episode, where I shared with you my thought process, my big decision going from a comfortable corporate position to being an entrepreneur. It has been a roller coaster ever since, and so many of you requested that I take you with me during this journey, so here I am. Today, we'll be unpacking some of the thoughts and feelings that come along with these important decisions, and we will refocus on the topic of purpose. I felt the need to refocus on that because, this is a new season of life for me, and each season of life is an opportunity and a gift really for renewal and growth. And so reminding ourselves why we are moving towards this new direction and why we're shaking things up and making all these big changes in our lives is something that is really important. It is grounding. It brings a sense of peace in the midst of the tectonic shifts. And so I believe that in any big changes in life, whether it's welcoming a newborn to the family, whether it's jumping from corporate to entrepreneur, whether it's moving to a different country or committing to a life partner, whatever that is, it's a whole process. It's not just something that settles in your life as soon as the decision is taken. It's definitely a whole process on its own. The moment you take and act on your big decision, it's a huge step. Yes, but guess what? You're not done yet. The real work begins. And that's where the gold is. That's what's helping you grow and evolve. In those moments, no matter how unsettling they may feel, in those moments, you know you are leveling up. You are stretching up to the next level in your life. I definitely went through different phases and different emotions. And I was faced with situations which helped me learn more about myself and grow more into the person I want to be. I am learning so much about myself right now. I really am. And as I am doing so, as I am learning to understand myself better, to face my strengths and also my weaknesses with compassion, my intention is to share that with you so that hopefully it will help you in your own journey. And maybe some of it will resonate with you as well. So I'll just be candid and open here. In my case, I have been blessed to be called for business opportunities right away, like literally the week after I quit, which I know is not to be taken for granted. And I know also it's not something to be expected in the long run. And I'm so grateful for it. It's a privilege, and I know that. I worked really, really hard for it, and I just wanted to get things going right away. So I started building a space at home for the podcast studio. I started taking on opportunities to MC large institutional and corporate events. I started my consulting business as well no rest, no days off, just trying to prove to myself that I could get the business going. Now, here's where the learning part comes in. Before I knew, I was being dragged back into old patterns. I was being dragged back into the rat race or the hamster wheel. And that's exactly what we're running away from, right? Filling in all my time with commitments, worrying about what's coming next, and trying to prove to myself that I can make it instead of allowing in more stillness in my life and creating more space for the new. The difference now, and that's what's really helpful when you engage on a personal development journey, when you're committed to self-actualization. The difference now is that I can catch myself very quickly. I can spot right away whenever I'm drifting away from my center and just realign and recenter. And I think it's okay to acknowledge that it's a constant dance. That's part of us being human. We're constantly in a dance of drifting away and realigning back to center. What's most important is the intention that sparks your action. That's what determines the outcome. And the outcome we are ultimately all looking for is happiness. Take whatever goal you have. In the end, what it all boils down to is you searching for happiness. So, acting from a place of alignment and acting to prove something to yourself, even if you're not doing it to prove it to anybody else, still, it's not the same kind of energy. It is very subtle, but it makes a huge difference. And so for me, I know my life's purpose. I shared that with you before and I can share it here again. My life's purpose is to be fully alive and vibrant, to adore and appreciate my Creator and my loved ones, to strengthen and share my gifts so that I might inspire other people to live more fully, to lead more authentically, and to make their difference today. And if you're telling yourself here, well, I do not know what my purpose is, that's okay. Believe me, I've been there. It really is okay. Just keep asking yourself those questions. Keep setting the intention, and you'll eventually clarify it. So anything and any situation that does not align with my purpose, I know it's not meant for me. I love connecting with people. I love driving the process of getting ideas to land in people's minds, which is what I'm doing when I'm recording a podcast or when I'm emceeing and moderating large events. I'm helping the audience, the listeners, unpack and articulate thoughts and ideas. I love creating content that is inspiring and uplifting. But here's the thing. Even though I'm so passionate about what I'm doing, I do not want to go back to being that hamster in the wheel. Everything in life is about balance. So while I felt the need to prove to myself the first weeks that I could keep myself busy, I very quickly understood that I was reproducing old patterns, and so I allowed myself to create more space. So how do we know that we're in alignment? Well, it's when you have the unshakable confidence that you're exactly where you need to be. You're content with what you have and where you're at, and you're being of service to something bigger than yourself. That is what it means to me to live and to be on purpose. And so I knew I was slowly drifting out of alignment when I couldn't fit in the things that I love, the things that are important for my balance, my daily routine, getting a podcast out every other Sunday. When I was constantly busy and started worrying about what would come next. I knew I wasn't doing it the right way, so I catched myself and shifted my focus back to my purpose. And here's what I love the most about this new chapter, besides the satisfaction of showing up for myself and working towards my life's purpose. It's taking back control of my own time. This is a big one for me. owning my mornings, dropping my kids at school, working out or going for a walk on my own to kick off the day, deciding what to do with my time and with who, that feeling of freedom just nourishes my soul and is exactly what I was craving for. And so it's a constant dance, right? That's what I'm saying here. It requires reminders once in a while because we are all human. And so I'm learning to embrace this space of not knowing. I am learning to embrace this space of in between. There's a beautiful episode on the Room to Grow podcast by Emily Goff that touches on this topic. I'll reference that for you in the notes of this episode. And go check my interview with her also, episode 19 of Leaders on Purpose podcast. She's really amazing. So that time between the tides, it's like the tide is not in and the tide is not out. You're kind of hanging on to what things were and what you're used to, but you're kind of trying to get the new thing in, and you're in that gap. There's a word for it in social science, and it's called liminality. The liminal space is the time between the tides. And here's something powerful that I heard Oprah say in one of her master classes. Liminality is your most creative time. It sure does hurt. It sure is uncomfortable, but it's your most creative time. You just gotta lean into it. There are other teachers and thought leaders who touched on this topic. Eckhart Tolle says, being in that space of not knowing is when you are actually about to be the most powerful. Because that means that something is coming that is actually going to let you know. So that space of not knowing is the time we should start appreciating instead of feeling anxious about it. It's the time to do more of the things that fuel your heart and your soul. It's the time to create some space to allow for new beautiful things to happen. And so right now, we're wrapping up the second edition of the #40Together initiative, a fundraiser to buy a home for a homeless widow and her 3 orphans. If you haven't heard of it before, go check episode 18, The Power of Intention, and join us. Because we're still in the process of raising more money to furnish the house for this second family. We initiated the first edition last year, and we just checked in with the family a year later, and it was the most fulfilling and heartwarming experience ever. Seeing them enjoy their new life and living together safely as a family is satisfying beyond any words. And this year, we decided to do it again. And so I invite you to join us because now we want to keep doing it each year. It is a true blessing to serve, and it is a blessing to be a blessing in other people's lives. There's just no words for it. So, going back to our quest for happiness, I came across this equation from Professor Arthur Brooks that really resonated with me, and so I want to share it with you. Professor Brooks is a best-selling author, a social scientist, and a Harvard professor. He teaches leadership and happiness. How cool is that? And so he says, just as we know that the 3 macronutrients for what we eat are protein, carbohydrates, and fats, all food are made up of those 3 things, right? Well, that's the same thing for happiness. The happiness macronutrients are enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning, which is also known as purpose. Those are the big 3. If you want to be a happy person, you have to take seriously and do the work of actually thinking about enjoyment, which is more than pleasure, by the way. Pleasure is great, but it's not enough to sustain happiness. A good meal is pleasure because it fills your belly and it tastes good. But when you bring in your family and friends, you can enjoy it again and again and enjoy the memories of it. Number 2, your satisfaction. That's your joy for a job well done. A reward that is actually earned when you earn your success. And I love that he said this also. He said, everybody thinks that satisfaction is getting what you want, but it's actually wanting what you have. Satisfaction is not having what you want, it's wanting what you have. I had to take that in and let it sink in for a while. It is so profound and so true. And the third one, meaning, that's the tough one. That's the one most people struggle with. It's our purpose in life. We need to keep that as a priority because we want to live in alignment with it. Jay Shetty gives this definition of purpose, and he says, your purpose is something not just that makes you happy, it's when you use what makes you happy to serve other people. Like when you use it to impact other people's lives. For so many people, from the outside, I had the ideal professional situation, traveling the world and speaking abroad. And don't get me wrong, I loved what I was doing. And it would give me that tip of happiness, but then it would drop back. And there was something missing. And it's that purpose, really. Understanding why I was brought to this world. How can I serve? How can I create real impact around me? So you have to have all three elements in alignment, working together to be truly happy. Enjoyment, satisfaction, and meaning. As I said, sometimes you get dragged back into old narratives, old patterns. That's just how life is. So how do we keep ourselves out of that? Well, first, self-awareness. Being aware that we are getting dragged back to situations that we are moving away from is a big one. Second, find someone you trust to talk about it. I cannot stress that enough. Entrepreneurship should not be a lonely journey. If you find yourself a co-founder who is a good fit, I think that helps a lot. But if you're driving your business on your own, find your support system, find your community, surround yourself with people who are navigating the same challenges as you are. Do not isolate yourself. So back to what I was saying, it is so easy to fall back into old patterns. And that is why it is so important to keep working on self-awareness again and again. It's a lifelong learning journey. The most interesting people that I know feel that they're still learning on a daily basis. When we think about it, we are often driven by the fear of what other people think. How are we going to be judged? How are we going to be perceived? One of my favorite quotes from Maya Angelou says, "We are all powerful beyond measure." Really, we do limit ourselves. We get in our own way, along with other things that get in our way. And a lot of our fears stops us from driving forward and from progressing. So let's embrace each season of life and take this opportunity for renewal and growth. Just shine your own light as bright as you can possibly get it. And know that by doing so, you're automatically encouraging other people to do the same. So that's what I've got for you for today's episode. Make sure you tag me on social media with your biggest insight. Jump into those comments. I love hearing from you. I want to know what stuck out to you, what made the biggest impact. I want to learn from your own experience and your own journey. Share it all with me. Share with this episode with someone who needs it. Pass it on. We're on this journey together. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
That is it. Thank you so much for spending your most precious asset with me, which is your time. I am so grateful. If you like what you hear, please take a quick second to hit subscribe, write a review, and share with a friend. Spread the love. If you think it's something they could benefit from, that will make a huge difference to keep this podcast going. I make it my mission to bring you as much valuable content as possible and absolutely incredible guests. I am back every other Sunday. Thank you so much again for listening, and I hope you have an amazing day.